First thing I want to say is thank you. Thank you for having me. Really appreciated this experience. So look, before I got here, 10 minutes before I got here, I got some news that I got to deal with at home, and major distraction. I even passed the street, went down the road like a mile. I was like, oh shit, that's the street. I got to turn back around. So I have a little bit of complication getting started, but one of the hardest things is getting started. Taking one foot in front of the other and keeping going. I did almost quit. I did quit, and I got some encouragement to stay. And man, it was just getting started. Just that one step to get started and follow through with it to get to the next step. And it winded up being easier and easier afterwards. And I was just so focused in my head of what happened before I got here, and I was literally making myself sick. I was all in my head. I was thinking about that, thinking about what the hell am I doing here? I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, I need to go back home. I need to deal with what I have to deal with. And I mean, I still got to deal with what I got to deal with at home, right? And but I have to learn what I need to do, and what this event taught me is I got to go handle that distraction, and I got to remove it from me, remove it from everything around me. And it was something I've been putting off for a very long time, and just thinking it's going to go away. Well, things just don't go away. You got to handle things, and you got to fix them, and you got to overcome them. And that was the same thing as that first PT that we had. I just had to dive into it, focus, not think about anything else, focus, get through it, and nail it, and get to the next step. And that's what I got to do when I get home. So my main thing that I learned is to deal with your distractions, but you have to eliminate them as well. So.
Yeah, that's a good word, Lenny, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you holding yourself accountable and not mincing words and not making excuses. That commands a lot of respect from me to you, right? So I really appreciate that about you, man. And I agree with everything that you just said. It's extremely important.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, leading up to the event, you and I have had multiple conversations about distractions. And then it's usually right before you're ready to have a breakthrough is when it all starts to come against you. And the words of encouragement that I gave to Lenny, that I can give to all of you guys, is at that point is when you need to push the hardest. You don't throttle back when you're running through the finish line. You speed up and you punch through it. Okay? Most people let up when they're close to the finish line. When you guys were pushing that cart yesterday, and all I kept saying to you guys is just keep pushing, push hard, don't let up. Because when you start to lose momentum, that's when something will sneak up on you that you're not expecting. So, good job.
That's exactly what's going on right now.
And I'm glad you showed up. You keep coming back. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And that's why you're a leader of men.
Yes, sir.
Good job. Bye.
Thank you.
Something that I shared with Group Alpha yesterday during our After Actions report was this theme of needing to be more selfless that was just apparent to me throughout the entire weekend from the moment I walked here. I mean, since the moment we started on Friday to all the way to last night when you guys saw me falling asleep when Chad was speaking. I reflected on it last night because it's something that I think I overlook in my everyday life. People tell me sometimes how I can be a little selfish, and I always try to brush it off because I'm someone who likes to serve others, so I see it as like almost balancing the scale, but like being here this weekend has made me realize I need to hold myself accountable. And something quick that I shared yesterday that really hit home for me because it was a family member who cares about me is when we were up on the high ropes doing the high element yesterday. I was saying I'm not really scared of heights. I've done stuff like that before. I was just kind of cruising through the thing. But one of the events I was with Steven, and we wanted to challenge each other and not grab onto the handle and put our hands on each other and walk through it. And I could tell Steven was like enjoying it because it was a thrill to him, whereas it wasn't as much for me. And when we stepped off on the platform, he was so excited. He gave me a high five, smiled, was like, that was awesome. Like, and I just remember I was so caught up with how I was feeling that I couldn't even appreciate how happy he was. And I hated feeling blind to my loved ones. So that really was a breakthrough for me and how I need to be more selfless and more attentive to those around me. So I also want to say I freaking love every single one of you. Like, no, I truly mean that. Like, I didn't know half this group coming in, and all I could think about was walking behind Carrie, like, this final hill. I was like, Carrie, you're not stopping. I will freaking push you up this hill. Like, we are going to do whatever it takes. Like, I freaking love it. I'll do anything for every one of you, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, Sebastian, in that specific scenario with Steven on the high ropes, you know, a lot of times it really feels unnatural to celebrate other people when they win, right? It just feels unnatural. Sometimes you have to go out of your way, and most especially to celebrate with someone when they win at something that seems simple to you, right?
Yeah.
So like for me, I've ran 250 miles. How am I going to celebrate when somebody runs their first mile for the first time in 20 years, you know? But being able to look at people for who they are, where they are, and being able to celebrate those seemingly insignificant wins that are significant to them, but maybe not so to you because it's not something that challenges you, it actually helps you grow when you're just in that mindset. And it's not something that comes natural, and it's something that I also have to pay attention to, because the better you get and the more you progress, the more your tendency is going to be to look down on other people and not recognize the things that have been significant in moving them forward in their journey. And then you're less likely to come alongside them, right, and continue to encourage them. So that's a real big lesson, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
What I just took away was, there's a couple different things, but I think this, like, we were a leadership team. I think it's super important. It's crazy how, I know it's just probably repeating, every little detail that you put into the processes at work, right? They're all processes, they're replicating. The better they are, the better the next person is. You build your team, you build your leaders, the more success, we're all successful. As soon as, I think that it's super impactful to have the different levels come, maybe intertwine them, but to see the team that's for someone that's never done it before, and see how quickly you crumble in front of your face, and doing things that are so insane. Like, I was like, I do not like water. I went it twice. Like, it's not, I can swim, but Lenny, he saw my face. I was like, oh, we're in the water, you know. And it doesn't matter who you are. And this is kind of TNA, but when we were soaked, we were ripping each other's clothes off because we couldn't move. We were just helping each other. I'm like, hey, I bet you not even 24 hours, but here we are. And you get that bond. Like, I think that it's super impactful to have, you know, if you can bring your teams here, just so they can see that as soon as it, you know, the leadership to the down to the technicians or whoever you are, just like what happens when the little pieces aren't done. It's hard to be detailed, but when you are, it's so much easier. Like me and Lenny were talking about the whole way up that, oh, what could we have done to cut up that wall, you know? Just because you want to win, and when you're not doing things that are detailed or not trying, you're making it that much harder. You're making it that much harder on your leaders. You're making it to where you're not progressing yourself. Last night, we're not giving. The expectation was so high because we're all here. We're all, doesn't matter. We're all gonna get over that wall, right? I was super, like, we've grown so fast. Getting over that point of being like, am I confident in what I'm doing? Am I annoying? Yes, my voice, whatever. But it also at the same time, it's like that confidence has to be built. You just have to do it. You have to go with it. Those hills yesterday, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I didn't want to take my pack off because I knew everybody else had their pack on, but I was like, I can't quit either. So how do you, you took it at that for me, and I thank you. And all of you guys are awesome. Now that I've met you ladies that are like same number 2, whatever, that person, I always get that, oh, you're my Karen, you're my whatever. Now I know that you guys can reach out to me, anybody, if you have questions, because growing is hard, right? Having the people that come to you, you have to have that trust, and I think being here in this setting, it's crazy. It's like nothing you've ever done, because you do things that if you've never worked out before, if you've never, getting people over that, like helping people, growing people, those relationships, me and Chris have changed so much from day one to, we all have, of how we need to, and he's implemented this stuff. He brings it back little by little, maybe too much sometimes. But yeah, but it's awesome to see yourself grow and then see how the dynamic will change as those pieces crumble. Like that's exactly what you're doing when you're not doing the correct process, when you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing at work. You're just literally making it harder, and you're not going to get over the wall every single time, right? So it's crazy, and I appreciate it. And also, like, sorry, I bad with names, Sebastian said,
Yeah.
like what you're saying to people is so much. Like I grew up with negative mindset on myself, so I didn't know how to be positive for like someone like Carrie, who is in the position that I used to be in, or something like that, or just being able to help them. If you want to get in the gym first time or whatever like that, it's hard when you don't have that to be able to help other people. So I think that that's huge too, that you're just sitting here motivating people that you've only known for like 24, 48 hours, and now they're leaning on you, and you're like, oh, but if you're confident in what you're doing, I think it's just weird how it impacts your work and life. But I think it's awesome, and I think it was awesome being here, even though Chad and, it's don't stop, keep going. So that's all I have to say. Too much, I'm a talker. Yes. Who's next?
Well, hold on, I wanna thank you first for sharing, because you just shared a lot, and I wanna just touch on a point that I heard that stands out to me. As owners and managers, a lot of us feel a lot of pressure to always have the answers, right? And like Chad said before last, either October, I think it was October, this becomes a safe space for you to come and have your breakdowns, right? The true, in my eyes, in my opinion, managers surround themselves with strong people. It's not always about having the right answer, it's about having a strong team. So if you can take that away, you don't have to be the person. Like I am perfectly okay with telling you that you don't want me coming to your house putting an air conditioning system in, right? Or when it comes to technical skills, you want to talk to my brother Joe. I'm perfectly okay with that. And if you can take that away as owners and leaders in your company, and like, look, if you're a field technician and you're here right now, that means you're a leader in your company. Because your company spent and invested a lot of money bringing you here because they see the potential in you, right? And you guys that are here, that are coaching with me weekly, I see the potential in you. But you gotta want it more than me. I can't want it more than you want it. So thank you for sharing that. And I know just from, we didn't have a lot of conversation, but I know I can see that hard external shell.
Yeah.
And there's a significance thing, right? Because if you don't have the answers, will I be significant enough to Chris to be relied upon? And you broke through that this weekend, right? It's amazing what can happen in 48 hours. It's amazing, like literally the breakthroughs, just watching you guys, like my top 2 values, to grow myself and to grow other people. And just watching you guys grow this week. That grows me, right? But I like to be in the mud. And it was very difficult for me to sit back and have conversations with my managers to say to them, you need to step back and allow your people to lead and follow. And Brian always wants to help everybody, and Joe always wants to stop people from falling. You gotta let them fall. Gotta let them fall. Cool, thank you for making me cry. You didn't make me cry, I'm a crybaby.
Do you want to?
No, not yet.
Whatever. Oh, nice.
Bear with me while I stand up.
Somebody prop Eric up.
Something I've been thinking about a lot today as I, get ready to take a late night flight back to New Jersey. Chad's talked last night about environment, inputs and outputs. I've always been pretty good about protecting the inputs, but environment's a tricky one. And something you guys talked about in the instructor cadre about watching our language this weekend. That's an issue I've had times in life where I've been really good. I had a time in life where I couldn't remember the last time I said a curse word, and then there's times where that lets that slide. The importance of that is that how our outputs create other people around us affects their environment. So, from a selfish perspective, we need to be aware of our environment and how we can control it, but also we need to control ourselves so that we don't bring down other people's environment in the office, at home. You were talking about how they're all connected, and then you can kind of stitch them together, right? And sometimes there might be people in your life, not that you want to cut them out of your life, but you want to be careful to limit your exposure perhaps, so that you can bring them up without letting them pull you down. It's like if you take your water and you mix it with some muddy water, it doesn't make the muddy water cleaner. But you can put it through a purifier and you can get it clean again, but you just got to protect yourself and those around you. So, and then just last thing I want to say, something Steve told me when I came here was that I had the opportunity to kind of sit under the leadership of others. And I said it last night in our, it's after action, to Jesse and Lenny and Rob, I'm sorry,
Patty.
and Patty. I've learned a lot from you all this weekend, and I just want to thank you for stepping up and taking charge and just demonstrating what good leadership looks like. Thank you.
Yeah, Eric, it's been a pleasure to watch you push into some new areas in yourself and explore those and continuously give your maximum effort. Thank you for being here, man. It's been great training with you.
Thanks for having me.
Morning, everyone. I've got two takeaways, one of which, actually both of which were issues that I already knew. I suck at delegating as a leader. I want to have my head in everything. I feel like, even though I know I'm not the best for the job, I feel like I can do it quickly and efficiently. I'll tell an employee to move out of the way and I'll do it. They say I can't do it. Instead of taking the time, like Steve tells me all the time, to show them how to do something, I just tell them to move to the side and I do it because it's quicker and more efficient and we get out of there faster. And it's usually backfires because I don't do it correctly or I don't do it, whether it's something in the office or out in the field, either I half-ass it or just to get it done, or I avoid it and then it comes back later to haunt me. So I really need to work on my delegation with my team and get that honed in. And then the other one is there's two times I can remember over the course of the weekend where it wasn't like the rock course back in October. I wasn't in my own head. I was fine. I was like clear-headed. I guess it's just pure laziness. And I just because I've noticed it when I run. When I run on my own time, I'll run 3, 4, 5 miles, and then I'm just like, I'm not in pain. I'm fine in the head. I just don't want to run anymore. And I want to be able to run long distance. So like when we were doing Jacob's Ladder, I remember looking at Lenny when we were halfway up, and I'm like smiling. I'm like, man, this sucks. Like I'd rather just go back down. But then I'm like, well, I got a team. I'm the leader right now. I got Lenny here with me, side by side. We're doing this together. I'm gonna keep going. And then the second time was on the rock wall when I said I looked at Cam, and I'm like, man, my arms feel like Jello. I'm tapped out. And I said it with a smile. Like it was just pure laziness. And I said I'm tapped out, and I remember James was like, nope, you're not coming down. So that's he wouldn't let me come down, and I was attached to him. So I just turned around, I rested for a minute, and I kept going, and I finished. And when I finished at the bare minimum, but I was like, no, I'm going to take a few more steps, and I got up and I put my arm completely on top. And that felt those two instances felt great. That, and it kind of goes back to what Moon asked you last night about what do you do, and it's just doing the next right thing. And the next right thing is just to keep going and finish the task at hand, and finish it correctly. And I gotta keep reminding myself of that. So those were my 2 takeaways.
Yeah, that's outstanding. And then back to your first point, you talked about how you have difficulty delegating within your team at work, and if something comes up and one of your team members is struggling with it, you'll just step in and kind of try to do it yourself, right? Faster, and kind of save them the struggle. Well, you talked about how a lot of times that bites you in the butt kind of in the short term because you end up doing it wrong, or takes away from something else. But really where that bites you is in the long term, right? Because you're never allowing that individual who you need to depend on as a teammate, you're never giving them the opportunity to develop into who you actually need them to be, right? So the long term in terms of not being able to delegate and not being able to empower, equip, and properly train the people that you need, that hinders you more so in the long term than it does in the short term. So just keep that in mind, man, and understand that although it may take a little longer in the short term, when you just allow them or coach them or teach them through it instead of doing it for them, although it may take a little more time in the short term, it's going to pay off in dividends in the long term. Just keep that in mind. Yeah.
And also I want to thank everybody that I've built a relationship with. I love you guys all, and the whole team. You guys rock. So pleasure to be here with all of you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. So I've learned so much, and I've been here before, and every time I come, I just pick out more and more stuff, right? And one of the things I was looking through the notes I took and see what really stuck out to me, and the one thing that just kept coming back, and I can tie it back to something from yesterday as well, is the peaks and valleys, right? A lot of us, we just get mired in the day-to-day. Life is an undulation, right? It's going to go up and down. And I don't think I'm good enough at the down points. I'm good at the up points, the down points. And when you're at the down points, you start looking too close to you instead of looking out and paying attention to that. Sometimes I'm negative on myself because you think you're not doing enough, or start comparing to others, which is a really bad thing to do. And I think you got to pay attention to that top of the peak line, not the bottoms, and you just get mired in the day-to-day. And I think that is some of the things that, as I think back to what happens in my business and my personal life, like, it is a struggle. I am up and down, and everyone probably is. But you got to learn from those low points and really be able to pay attention to the long-term view, long-term vision, and things like the vision building we did today, the personal vision building, like that stuff will matter, and that'll help you get through some of those low points, I think. So that's kind of what I got out of that.
Embrace the valleys, look forward to them, right? Because you look for, it's easy to be really good when you're on top, right? But understand, it's right, when you're winning, it's easy to be happy.
Easy.
It's easy
at the top.
It's easy. Well, it's not easy getting to the top.
No, but
when you get there, right, it's easy to be like, okay, this is great, blah, blah, like, but you should always be, as owners and managers and leaders in your company, you should be knowing that there's coming a valley.
Yeah.
But the valley gives you the opportunity to exercise the discipline and trust in your team, right? I'm sure that they went on missions, right? And you tell me if I'm right or wrong. They went on missions where, it's supposed to be executed this way, and stuff just doesn't go the way, even with all the intel that we spend all our tax money on, right? All the intel that they have, it changes. And how do you adapt to the change? And they just go back to, what are the basics? What are the basics? And what am I disciplined to do? And that carries you through, and that's what creates the momentum back up. And then you're getting trusted in the valley. And when you're trusted with that stuff at the bottom, that's when God's going to give you the more, because he can trust you there. trust you with the small, and then he can trust you with it all.
I just thought of something you said there, because probably one of my worst habits is I get to the top and I let off the gas. And that's where I should keep going. And you have the discipline to get yourself there, and then it fades too easily for me at the top, and I just let that gas off.
Yeah.
And that's when I think I gotta push harder, and that's probably been the thing that's held me back.
Good word.
Thank you. Who's next?
We talked about this in our after action last night. But I think it goes into this peaks and valleys discussion. How many of us redefine what 100% for us looks like? What our capabilities are, right? So if you're thinking about peaks and valleys, there's gonna come a point as we get a term to level up, do different things, but where our valley is gonna be higher than maybe one of our last peaks. So we're raising our average. So, we had this conversation in our group about running at 65, 70%, feel like you're in cruise control.
Yep.
But maybe if we raise our average, not in two ways, by upping the percentage, but also by leveling up and redefining, what was 100 last year is not 100 this year. It's not 100%. We realize we're capable of more. Well, that means that, those numbers grow. So they kind of compound over time. And when we don't have a lot of time, as the wheel shows, the clock showed, that matters because we are constantly, raising that bar for what used to be. And hopefully our valleys don't take us too far, we don't backtrack.
Yep.
So that was one of the biggest takeaways that I've had from the weekend is redefining what 100% looks like.
Love it. Love that.
Okay, so my reflection of the weekend was coming in, I did not know what to expect. I was told, we're gonna go train with a Navy SEAL and it's gonna be the hardest thing you ever do. And it was. This was the hardest thing I've ever done. What I've taken away is to ignore the voices in my head. I did things that I never thought I would do. That pole, I think I said to James, I said this is gonna be life-changing. How you get to the top and jump off, that's life-changing. And it was. The rock wall, I got to the bottom, I went, oh crap. But you just gotta go. If it takes you 10, 20, 30 minutes, you just gotta go. And I got up it. The high ropes, my swim buddy, we made it through. And then that push off on the rappel, you just gotta go. You just gotta stop listening to that little guy in the head saying, no, you might fall. Oh, this doesn't look safe. No, you just gotta go. And that's what I'm gonna take away from this is, when things get tough, there's always gonna be people telling you that this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, back off, or you're gonna tell yourself, back off. No, you just gotta go. And that's what I'm taking out of this one today.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Travis. And I think you should also recognize that the importance of the fact that everything that you did here this weekend was by your choice, right? A lot of times life will throw things at you that you have to deal with and there's no choice. And you have to go, man, because there's no choice. And whether that's sickness or problems in your marriage or problems in your business, maybe you could have prevented them or not, but they're there and you got to go through them. But this weekend, everything that you did, you decided to do it, man. And that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna be taking that name back with me.
Tavis.
Yeah.
Don't let Tavis come out. Tavis is dead, man.
One thing I want to add, and this is kind of going to couple the two of you guys that just spoke, is you've created a new floor in your life. You've now moved up. When they say level up, this is what it's going to take, and this is what level up looks like. You've now created a new standard for yourself. So like you were just saying, that new 100%, that 100% is now a new level for you. Some of you went from like 10% to 100%. okay? For some of you that trained and thought you came in ready, didn't realize how unprepared you were. Those of you that went to the October event, right? What did I say to you? It was a marathon. And now you have to learn that life is both a sprint and a marathon at the same time sometimes. So just recognize that. Cool. Thank you both.
Okay, there's a lot of takeaways at this event. I got like 20 or 30 pages of notes in my journal there. But one thing that I think I can take back to our team back at home and get it going immediately is, I've been struggling with employees that are disobedient and not performing at their top level, and trying to figure out how to motivate them and get them moving, right? So what I used to do, try to do everything I could to make them happy, and that was it. And that's not the way to do it at all. It's great if they're happy. I never thought to ask them what their values are, right? So the biggest thing for me taking away here is talking to the team, finding what their values are, what our mission is, and seeing if they align, right? We need to align the mission with our employees' values, and I think the happiness and the team will just work better that way, right? If they're not aligned, maybe it's time to think about other people to join the team. That's it. Short and sweet.
So I said this in our first after action reflection on Friday night, and when Chris first asked me to come, I was like, yeah, definitely. I heard him talk about the walk, and that's what I thought it was. And then he sent me the video, and I watched the video, and I was like, wow, this is terrifying. And then I'm like, okay, into it, and I got here, and it was a lot on the first day. It was not what I was expecting. I was totally unprepared, and just this whole weekend and everything just really made me realize that I need to take myself to the next level. And it really helped me realize that, and like I said it last night too, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I can't wait to get back and just keep applying this to my day-to-day life and help me be a better leader, help me be a better employee for Chris, and just really keep working at it.
That's what it's all about, man.
So this weekend I've learned that time is incredibly valuable, incredibly. And what you do with it is incredibly important on top of it. I came into this event having so many fears of, do I need to be prepared for this? Do I need to be prepared for that? But the really big thing I've learned is life is going to throw you curveballs left and right. You're not going to be prepared for everything. And whether you're prepared or not, it's coming. And you just have to deal with it. And to not give those bad voices in your head, like a voice, that it helps tremendously.
Yeah.
Tremendously. Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest takeaways coming in. Obviously, there's a lot more, but that's definitely one of my biggest.
Well, that's a big one, man. When you hear that, when you hear me say that, you might not believe it, but then when you actually see how it works for you internally, then it becomes real to you, and hopefully you realize that nothing that any of us teach you or say to you or share with you, none of it is like a theory. It's not just something that we came up with because it sounds good. It's because we've applied it in really difficult situations and it's worked. And it's not just worked one time, it's worked time and time again, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad you had that realization even on that single point, because that makes it all worth it, even if it's just one thing, which is, as a matter of fact, is probably what all of you should do. You should pick one thing that really impacted you, and you should hone in on that one thing in terms of application when you get back home. Because if you try to implement 30 new things, it's not gonna happen, right? So cling to that one thing and continue to apply it. And the next time you come and train, there will be something else. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mike, I just want to add, like, being on our team with you, something that I picked up that I learned about you is you demonstrate some of the best servant leadership I've ever seen. I didn't know you coming into this, but as a squad leader, like, you were one of the members. Your brain was on from the moment we were here Friday up until right now. Your brain was always going and always filling me in, filling our squad members in, and I appreciate that. And don't lose that.
Thank you.
Who's next?
I think this weekend, having intention in your actions and focus, two things. I know it was like the catchphrase at the beginning, I said, those are the 2 words when I say all weekend. And I think like literally not until today, I understand it. Like we have Chad in the hospital, but like we were focused here. The actions need to be here. We'll deal with that after. The rock wall, not the rock wall, that wall we just had. Like the focus wasn't there like we did it the first time. Like as a leader, I should have focused on the end, right? Because we already got the beginning done. But the second time around, I didn't focus on the end. The end was the only problem we had. So being intentional with your actions, move forward, I think that's the big takeaway for me.
That's good stuff. It's amazing what that wooden wall can teach you, right? It's just simple to implement. Yeah.
Who else? Don't be shy.
I would say one of my big takeaways from this weekend, one of the things that I work in is change management. And we talk about for change management to be effective, particularly in an organization, there are 3 elements to it you need. You need to change people's heads, you need to change people's hands and give them the skills to do what they need to do, and you need to change people's hearts to make them commit to whatever change you're doing along with you, help them understand the reasons why. And I'm, me personally, implementing change. Pretty good in the head. I can learn most new skills. Some are better than others. Math, not one of the better ones, but where I struggle is my heart. And so I thank you guys for giving me the heart, showing me the heart I have, and knowing that I can do this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's up?
Oh, man.
I'm a long way away.
The evolution's not over.
First of all, I want to thank you for having myself and part of the team back, and it was another great experience. A huge takeaway that I got from this, and I knew I've had to work on in a while, but I kind of got another realization to it, is more communication, but it's also like how we were talking about last night in our AAR with how our team, you know, and even myself, we're running at a 60% when we know that we can be going up to the 100%. So, I mean, I try to give anything that I put myself into my all to the best that I think that I'm doing, but there's always more, and even if it's just certain things, like talking about myself, but more or less like I try to focus on maybe showing or giving and trying to provide as much as I can, but I kind of slack and I'm terrible with like the stuff that is, how can I explain it, more or less like just showing, like, or being more present with certain things about myself, like instead of like being present with, you know, family, with employees, even like just a phone call, and just kind of, you know, between work, business, and home, and even certain other little things, just giving it my 100%. Because there's always more, like, and I always think that it might be enough, or it's like, oh, they're okay or not, but or I just, brush it off and I think it's okay. But something is that we all, picked up on, and I picked up on, is that just, there's always more to do, and to give it more than, it's like small even examples, like you're on the treadmill and you have it set to whatever workout you're on, and you're already like huffing, puffing, and it's like, okay, you're at 8-9 miles an hour, and then it kicks you up to 10 or 12, and you're like, oh my God, you handled it, you did it because you didn't have a choice. You couldn't, you could have easily hit the stop button and fell into the wall, but you just you ran through and you kept going. So it's like, I got to do that. Besides having a machine, I just have to do it to, for myself to do it, instead of just, relying on either forgetting about it or leaving it alone.
Yeah, you're right, man. There's always more to give and more to work on. And the reason that's true is because very, very rarely in life are you ever actually doing your best. You can tell yourself that you are, but when you analyze it, or when you're forced on the treadmill and it kicks the speed up for you, when you're forced into that situation, you realize, I wasn't really doing my best, right? And we live our lives, and even if we're making an effort, the vast majority of the time we're not doing our best. So yeah, there's always something to improve on, man, and your training is never complete, right? It just never is.
Yeah, there's never, the finish line is not really the finish line.
Yep, exactly. Yep, good word, brother.
Thank you.
I don't know, I enjoyed this a lot. For me, there's so many lessons to go over. One thing that really stuck out to me, like yesterday, was I had like a deathly fear of heights. Like, I don't even like climbing up maple ladder. And when we went on that ropes course, I had 0% fear. Like,
You did
zero.
show it.
Zero, I didn't have it. We did it good. Climbed the rock wall, it was good. Even rappelling down, I had zero fear, like none. It wasn't even an option for me. And operating under that, I think, is that's the sweet spot. And that's where you need to get to more consistently. And that, I think, comes from trust, because like I had trust in you that, you weren't gonna push me off the rope. Right? To see what would happen, go. So I just, that was a big thing that stuck out for me. So, yeah. You wanna go?
Thanks, Kevin.
Probably my biggest takeaway is on day one, I had a lot of anxiety coming into it. Chris had kind of explained to us, like, it's not gonna be fun and it's gonna hurt. And after we did PT and I puked all over the place and bear crawled around the place, the harsh reality that I was not remotely close to the guy that I was, say, 10, 15 years ago was like, it was hard to chew on. And at one point, Patty looked at me and she's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." I thought for sure, there was a moment there where I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna make it through this." And what I learned from it was like the negative self-talk. I learned in that moment, and as the weekend went along, I am very quick to say to myself, "You can't do that." I'm very quick to put myself down, and I need to be better about the negative self-talk instead of allowing that thought to take control. I'd be pretty interested to see what those exercises, not my current condition, but how I would do in those exercises given what we went through. A lot of, I think, why I didn't do as well as I should is purely mental. Like, a lot of it was mental. I think at the top, Jilly was watching me puke, and I was like, "No, I can't get up," and all I wanted to do was sit there and puke. It's like, well, dude, you can do that and walk at the same time. And that's the reality of it. Like, you can't allow the negative self-talk to fester and take over. Just gotta ignore it or find a way to get through it. But that's all I got.
Good word, man. And a lot of times, when that negative self-talk, when it tries to creep its way in, there's kind of the two best ways to combat it are to actually choose to speak something positive out loud. A lot of times that's spoken word, because when you speak something, it becomes real. It becomes something that can be heard by others. So you can combat that negative self-talk by speaking something positive, even if you might not believe it or you might not feel like it's true in that moment. So it takes courage to do that. And then the second thing to do to combat that negative self-talk and that negative loop is to choose to look outward and focus on others when you're really in a bad spot. And
To your point, when we were out on the football field and I screwed up when we were doing the bodybuilders,
yeah,
I found, I said to multiple people multiple times, like, it was easy to watch the back of Patty's feet, no matter where we were walking. I learned quickly that if I just watch everybody else and not focus on myself,
yeah,
I have to go through it. I have to go through it. So yeah, the biggest thing is just don't allow the negative self-talk to fester. You know, I appreciate the tips. It's actually a question I wanted to ask you last night. Was like, you know, you're human. I have to imagine at times you put yourself down. How do you get out of that? You know, so I appreciate you answering that.
yeah, those are the two ways. And you're a pretty good pilot too.
You'll remember that for a long time.
I was a co-pilot.
Chad was the pilot.
Oh, Chad was the pilot. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you were co-pilot.
Co-pilot.
All right.
Who else?
Pick somebody.
We don't have time for your complaining.
I know, you're right. Lately, like in my life, I feel like, lately I've been feeling like there's not enough time in the day, right? Because there's so much to do, and like, I feel like I end up, I don't know. Yesterday we talked about it in the AAR, about that NAV course, and time management was a big thing on my brain because I spend a lot of time during the day, like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, doing things that aren't productive, that I shouldn't be doing. And that time adds up at the end of the day, just like it did yesterday in the course. Like certain sections, like if we just moved a little bit faster, it would have given us more time at the end. And like, I feel like all the tasks we did perfectly, almost. But there was a lot of like times in between where like that time could have helped us at the end, because we were very close. And you know, that goes close to home for me, because that happens a lot. I run out of time and I end up doing things until too late. And if I was more efficient with my time during the day, then you know it wouldn't happen. You know.
Can I say something for you?
Sure, yeah.
As soon as you started navigating the leapfrogging, you were a totally different person. We were all like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? So you need to take that, and whatever you said in your head at that point, and you took that accountability, because we were all relying, Cam, you were like, and then you started saying, yes, it's the right way, because you weren't questioning yourself.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. It was like he just clicked and we just went, and nobody said it. He said to go that way. All the guys yesterday, you guys all did awesome, but he changed, like, they started talking, and it was little things that got us there faster. So you need to do that in your everyday life when you're doing those efficient, you know, making your time management, because you were a totally different person. It was insane how you just changed, and you're like, yep. And it was awesome. It was so awesome, because he knew that we needed him to get us there, and he did it.
Yeah, you know.
With the guy.
My head's in the game.
With you guys.
I got a side on that one too, because I know Cam from the last event, he was a navigator also, and he was very questioning on his answers, and then this time, he was partnered up with Eric, and as we're coming up the hill, and it was like, he already had the plan, and he knew what he wanted to do, and coming up the hill, and I haven't seen this one out of Cam at all, and he's just like, it was just a snap. He's like, no, just listen to me.
Yeah.
We're going this way. And everybody just went silent for a second, and we went that way, and within like 3 minutes we were at our checkpoint.
Yeah.
And I was like, that, Cam used to do that every day, and that was like, that was, that, I was like, that's the different Cam from last year to this year.
I saw that too, because when I was up here.
Let's not get in the weeds, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just want to, I was fortunate enough to watch that you guys get to the boats. And I was also able to witness a day in the life of Brian and Cameron happen, right? Not paying attention, right? 3 paddles come back in 1 boat, attention to detail. And then Cameron gets up and goes, we wouldn't be this far if it wasn't for me. And I looked at him and I said, do not justify where you guys are for you to be inefficient. And if that's what you take away, like, look, you have grown from the first event. As an uncle and your boss and watching you grow has been a blessing, right? Just keep building on it. Every time you guys come back here, like, this is not a one and done. Nobody goes to the gym one time and comes out Mr. Olympia. It's a steady, and Chad said it the other day, there's skill sets. If you're not using them, you're what? You're losing them, right? And you just have to keep coming back, right? And it'd be nice if we could take every employee here all at once and do this as a whole company thing, but we also still have to keep the lights on and the bills paid. And you have to kind of cycle your people in and out. But what happens now is the guys that have come to a couple trips, 2, 3 trips, are gonna be able to go back and bring this to your people. And then what happens is that buzz is gonna start going through your company, and they're gonna see the difference, because human beings learn by modeling, and they're gonna see a different Cameron, they're gonna see a different Brian, Patty's going back different, Chad, he'll be in on Monday, right? Chad, you're gonna be in on Monday, right? Like, every one of you are going back different, and they're going to be watching your behavior, right? I was talking to a couple of people from my company, and they said, so-and-so wants to come. I'm like, yeah, they're gonna wanna come even more when you get back, and they see a different you. So just keep showing up, right? Brian?
Yeah, and seeing how close we came, like I decided, like, I will not fail that course again. If I was to do, it's not happening. Yeah.
Who else?
I want to thank Steve for inviting me on the trip again. I got a lot out of this one. One of the things that I got was I still have more in me than what I think I have. And I just gotta, when I start to think that I don't have it in me, that I do have it. And I just gotta push myself to that 100% every time. At work, home, outside, anywhere, just always have that 100% capability,
Even when we thought you didn't have any more puke left. you found a reserve tank. It's dessert belly. So, oh, here, you got some extra.
Good work, AJ. Good work, man.
Proud of you.
Thanks, sir. I wrote down 3 things that really stuck out. They all come down to one major topic. Time, preparation, and organization, all things I lack on. All things I realized I lack on elsewhere besides being here, besides training. It comes down to a lack of self-discipline and holding myself accountable. I let myself slide. I'm not hard enough on myself to force me to do things that I don't want to do. A big thing was when you're at home and it's comfortable, like you said, it's easy. No one's pushing you, no one makes you want to do it. Then I come out here and I get pushed and it's, no, you need to hold yourself accountable. You don't need an external source to keep you going. You need to be able to do that. Another thing was, going back to the time, was there's no such thing as balanced life, like Steve said. And that comes down to being self-disciplined, being able to manage my time, being able to organize myself, put it all together, and make the most out of my days, whether it's at work, at home, whatever it may be. Another thing was, Chad said it at the rock course, but I think it applies to a couple things, was mental health is perishable. And I think the same can be said for the physical and spiritual aspects of it. If you don't work at anything, you just let them be. You're not going to get better, they're going to get worse, they're going to leave you. So by staying on top of myself and self-discipline and keeping it going, I And moving forward, if I can do that, be a different animal, be able to go.
Well, I don't think the right language is if I can do that. I mean, you can do that. You're in control of all of that. So the right language is this is what I'm committed to. You know.
Yep.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep.
So many things, but as far as myself, I definitely have a heightened awareness now. We talked about it last night in our AAR, just self-limiting internal dialogue, and I've heard that a lot. I mean, so, you know, I think if I go into that, I'll be echoing a lot of what's already been said, but from a leadership standpoint, just witnessing how you guys operate, team mindset, selfless, just so much of that is a skill that I think I can push out when I get back and apply to future endeavors and so on and so forth. And just want to say thanks. It's been great. Love all you guys. It's been a great experience of a lifetime, and I look forward to coming back. And I had something else I wanted to say and I lost it. I'm sorry.
Old guys rule.
Old guys rule. Yeah,
Really, somebody.
Yeah. But yeah, just a lot of great leadership stuff. And again, thanks for the opportunity, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, I want to say I've been impressed with you since literally the very beginning on the physical standards test. I knew right off the bat when I saw you coming in off of that run that you were going to be a special guy, a special team member, and you have been. You've been locked in. You've been committed. You've been present every time I've watched you, seen you, paid attention to you, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Joe.
I look forward to getting to train with you again.
I appreciate that, sir.
Yes, sir.
It means the world to me.
Who has not shared, before you throw it, who has not shared, just for the sake of time? We have about 8 minutes.
8 or 9 minutes.
8 or 9 minutes, so.
So I talked about this with Steve earlier, and it's like, my mission statement last year was mostly focused around helping others, and I left myself out. And if I can't help myself, how do I help others? That's all I got.
That's true, Joe. Yep.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me. Really appreciate the opportunity to better myself. I'm not great at public speaking, but I'll give it my best. My big thing was discipline with my anger, my emotions, and always being so gung-ho with, seeing, oh God, the big, big explosions and trying to keep my temper at bay, and patience. Patience was all weekend. All weekend, it's the professional side of me. When I go to a client's house, I'm the most professional. When I get into the wrenching, I go a completely different way, and I want it my way, and that's how it is. And I need to learn that my team is my team, and we're all gonna get there together, and I'm just a part of that team. I can't wait to get back and implement this into my life, 100%. I hope I get to come back and show you the improvement that I can do, 100%.
I'll just say one thing. Most of you weren't invited here. You were selected. Because we see what's inside you. and we want to make sure you see it too.
Who's next?
Steven. No pressure, so.
Wasn't expecting that, but I say the biggest thing for me was hearing James and Cornbread when they were coming up to talk to me. James was like, we talked about it in our AAR, he's like, you're a completely different person. He asked me like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, what did I do? But he was like, no, you've matured and become a completely different person, and we were talking about that as well in the AAR. And then with Cornbread, when we were walking to one of the objectives yesterday on the land nav, he asked me if I did the rock course and when I quit. And he said, did you leave anything out there? And I was like, yup. I think about that day more than I would like to admit. But, and then he called me out for it, and he had me motivate the team with that. Don't leave anything out here. You do not want to leave anything here, because you will not forget it. And when we were talking about the values, passions, and the competency, yeah. The passion was a big thing, because Blake asked, what's the one thing that keeps you up at night? And my first thought was just being selfless and helping people. That was my first thought. So.
It's awesome, brother. Huge lesson. And look how you took that you want to call it a mistake, or you took that bad choice that you made months ago, and then you turned that around and you leveraged it in a way that you could encourage others. Man, that's what it's all about. Yeah, you've grown a lot, Stephen, man. I'm proud of you too. Yeah.
And he's grown a lot since the March event, yeah. Last year.
We can't even compare those two Stevens.
You wouldn't even know who these people are, him and Kevin.
Yeah.
Compared to that. 12 months, guys. 12 months, you got a new boys standing in front of you that are now men. They were men. They were boys when they were here in March. They're men now.
Yeah, yeah.
Who's left?
Lenny.
Derek.
Derek.
So I knew nothing coming into this trip. Thank you, Eric. But I have to say, it's been one of the hardest weekends of my life, but I loved every minute of it. I would like to think of myself as an encourager to my team, but I definitely am not, compared to the encouragement I got this weekend. That's one of the biggest things that I've learned, is how much encouragement is important to a team. And that's definitely something I'm bringing back to mine, because it's so important. And that's the only way I got through this weekend, is the encouragement from my team. Yeah.
Huge lesson.
Carrie was forced to have to rely on the people around her. It's amazing. We had this conversation at dinner the first night. And, crazy. Yeah, so you had to rely on the people around you in order to get through. And most managers, we talked about this earlier, you have to be relying upon your people that are around you to get to the end, to get to the end result, right? You just can't do everything, because you end up burnt out.
One of my biggest takeaways from this is understanding my mental state. Because one thing I have is my mentality. Like, I always was unsure of it. Like, the rock course in October, I went into it like not mentally strong, and it definitely showed out there, because I let my mind get to me and I gave up. And ever since then, I thought about it, and like how I could change and like become stronger and not let my mind control me. And during this course, I told myself, I was like, I'm not gonna say anything negative. I'm not gonna do anything negative. I'm gonna always try to keep a positive attitude. And I mean, I definitely think I lacked a little bit here and there, but I definitely think when I was selected as the squad leader, I was very unsure of like what to do because I've never been in like a position leading people that are older than me, like double my age, triple my age.
Hey, whoa,
I've never been in that position before, so it was like I was very nervous, and then you were getting on me, and I was like freaking out, cause, like trying to understand what to do, and because I've been there before, but like people my age or younger than me, like I like know how to like control that, but saying things to them, like cheering them on, like motivating them, that just like brought my mental state higher. And you know, I was in a lot of pain. I'm sure everyone else was. And
just you.
I'm sure everyone else was. But you know, I just used that to like use it as motivation for everyone else to just keep going and not give up. Like Eric, you know, he was struggling. And I told him, like, you're not giving up, like, you're gonna keep going through this, like, there's no way around it but through. And I feel like it did help him out. Like everyone else, they were going through it as well, just motivating them, that was it. That was the biggest factor through this whole thing. And just understanding that, like, now I know I'm mentally strong, not let anything get in my head.
Yeah, focusing outward is like what you're describing, like focusing on them, encouraging them, motivating them, helping them, instead of focusing so much on yourself. Yeah, Lenny Jr., you've made tremendous improvements too, man, along with everybody else, and I'm super proud of you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One thing I'm gonna add to that is control your inputs. You gave up in October because everybody that was with you was willing to quit with you. Surround yourself with people that won't quit. That are gonna pour into you as well. Just keep an eye on that when you go home. Got one more?
Alright, so I guess I'm last. So I'm kind of just sitting here thinking a lot. Obviously took a lot away this weekend. There's that sign next to Chad that says comfort breeds weakness. I like to think of it as complacency kills. Obviously, from where I was a few years ago, I've gained a lot of weight. Coming out here was very hard for me. But the encouragement and like not quitting and just like driving forward. That's all you gotta do is drive forward, man. Drive. That's it.
Thanks for showing up, brother. You did awesome.
So, I just want to thank all of you guys, and I can probably speak for the instructors, or they can speak on their own and just kind of give a couple seconds if you guys want. Like, I'm proud of all of you guys for coming and being willing to trust your leader, right? And I'm, for my clients that like coach with me, thank you for trusting me, right? 6 months from now, we'll be doing the rock course again. Blake, is Blake here? 19th, October 19th, 20th, and 21st, right?
What is that, right?
I'm pretty sure it's 6 months from this weekend. And then Chad's gonna bring us in the woods, hopefully in January. We're gonna try to put something on the calendar. So, yeah, talk to your bosses, talk to your team, right? And just, look, this is not a one and done event. It's not a one and done event. This is a wake up and then keep plugging in. So I appreciate all of you.
Yeah, it was an honor and a pleasure, again, to be able to grow with you guys and watch you, and especially those of you guys who keep coming back to see your progression and your growth. I'm proud of you guys, and I can't wait till next time. And it'll always be different.
Oh yeah.
It'll always be different. So, Instructor James, Instructor Blake, Cornbread, Hal, do you guys have anything to add real quick?
Man, it's been a pleasure it's been a real pleasure to serve with you guys. You know, as Chad said it a little while ago, but my big encouragement to you guys would be pick one thing. coming out of this? What's your one thing? Put some actual action behind it, not just like a theory thing. Like I'm gonna work harder, or I'm gonna improve my mindset. No. What is one or two specific things that you're going to do? I'm gonna finish my mission statement. I'm gonna put it on my mirror where I see it every day. I'm going to intentionally encourage the people I work with in these 3 areas, right? Come with one specific thing and just implement that. Otherwise, this just becomes, that was a hard, awesome, great weekend. And that's all it was. So you guys pick that thing, focus in on that, execute on that, and that one thing will yield a huge result. And then as Chad said yesterday, next time we see you, we'll pick another one and we'll just chip away at it.
Yeah, and I guess I would tell you to actually do something about that. A lot of you here have said, oh yeah, I knew this was a problem when I came in here, and it was still a problem. And then a lot of you have said, yeah, I understand, I know I'm doing this. I just want to tell you that owning what you're not good at doesn't give you permission to continue to not be good at it. So now that you've said that and you know what you need to fix, then now you actually need to fix it. It's not okay to just continue being that way. And so spend a little bit of time and think, what is that practically going to look like for me to do that differently? The thing that I know I'm doing wrong, how's it actually going to look for me to do that right in my life?
I would say that the word complacency becomes sort of a buzzword this weekend. Hal mentioned when me and him and Blake got back into the bunk that everyone's getting caught up on this 165% and 100% in complacency. Self-satisfaction, especially being unaware of danger and deficiency, is the definition of complacency. All of y'all are highly intelligent in high-level positions in y'all's jobs. There's very little y'all are unaware of. Rob hit it on the head, laziness. I have to fight that flesh constantly. When y'all leave out here and get on the asphalt next Tuesday or whatever, don't leave this here. Continue to use it. How I fight my flesh is through Jesus Christ, abiding in Him. I would encourage y'all, if you haven't, to read John 15.
Good word, Corn. Guys, it was an honor, and gals, to train with you this weekend. So it truly was. I enjoyed every second of it. 2 things I want to leave you with, just with patience as you leave out of here. Number 1, when you get back, you might be around some of the people here. You're not going to be around any instructors. You're not going to have anyone to push you. Be cognizant of that. You may take a step back. Be patient. Continue this process. You're not going to change overnight just from this weekend. It's going to take the work on your side. Be patient with yourself, but go through that process. Secondly, be patient with everybody else. You're going to go back and try to describe what happened this weekend to your loved ones, to family, to friends, and they're going to say, oh, that sounds awesome. And you're going to go, no, you don't get it. You don't understand what happened. They're not. The only people that are going to understand what happened this weekend is you and this group here. That's it. Be patient with them as you explain it and try to implement at work or at home the things that you've learned. Be patient with them and be patient with yourself. Again, it was an honor training with you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. And that's a wrap, guys. Thank you.